already. I've got 2:30, so I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Should be a short meeting. This is a special Commissioners Court meeting for County of Starr, Friday, June 13th. Let the record show we do have quorum. Commissioner Velasquez and Commissioner Garza being absent. If everyone would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Any public comments, Rena?
There's none.
None? Okay. Okay. Claims,
Motion to approve.
Second, Your Honor.
moved and second to approve claims as presented. Discussion. All in favor, please, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And Ms. Alanis will go on with the audits.
Yes, sir. Item 6, we have our external auditor, Adrian Webb, CPA, to present the audit for Starr County.
Hold on, Your Honor, can we do all three?
Which one?
All three, 6, 7, and 8, or no?
Yeah, I guess he
You
can
wanna do all
present,
three together?
he can present all three and then we'll
And
just
then
take
we'll
action on all.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
My name is Adrian Webb, and my firm audited Starr County, Texas for the year in September 30, 2024. So I'm going to start on page 1, and it should be the workbook that says Audit Presentation Summary. This is the opinion letter. Overall, the county received an unmodified opinion, which is a clean opinion, with no findings but one recommendation. The recommendation is in regards to fixed assets, the fixed asset schedule. There wasn't many off, so it wasn't like it didn't rise to the level of finding, but it's just something that the county is recommended to review and make sure before they turn it into the auditor that it's fully complete.
So an unmodified is good.
Yes, yes, they would. The next page will be page 4, which is the governmental funds balance sheet. Total assets was 52 million. Total liabilities equal 12 million, resulting in a fund balance of 23.23 million. Of that, 1.8 is restricted for debt service, 3.885 is restricted for special purposes, 7.8 is restricted or committed for construction, and 9.6 is unassigned.
Excuse me, Mr. Webb, okay, you're looking at the summary, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Page 4.
Okay, we got you.
On page 5, it explains the fixed assets and debt summaries, or how much was incurred during the year, or the end of the balances at the end of the year, I'm sorry. Total capital assets net of depreciation was 67.9 million. Total long-term liabilities equal 10.478 million. And the net pension related to GASB 68 was a liability of $336,000. And that is on page 5.
So the county's actual worth is about 96 million, is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, that's the total net position. So including assets and netted debt and all that stuff, it ends up being at 96 million. The next page will be page 6, which is the revenue and expenses for all the governmental funds. Total revenues was $38.775 million. Total expenditures were $39.993 million. This resulted in a loss of $1.281 million, but of that $1.28 million, $5.1 million was due to capital assets. So it was assets for the district. So if you take away that, it would be roughly, like around $4 million. Yeah, so
On the capital outlay, what is it that we bought? Just the big item.
got the, let me see, infrastructure, machinery and equipment,
Okay,
and that kind of stuff. So big projects.
okay.
And there was a bond issuance of $7,115,000.
Correct.
And then that's where like the majority of the part of the capital outlay came
That
from.
was the one for the juvenile center.
Correct.
Okay.
Adding in the bond issuance, the net change in fund balance was a positive of $6.18 million. So fund balance went from $17.059 million to $23.239 million. So it increased. And most of that is due to the bond issuance. But, and then also the increase, and the decrease was from, like I said before, the capital outlay. The C4, which is on page 7. This kind of restates what we've always, what we've previously said, but it's just, the additions to capital assets was $5.184 million. 62,000 assets were retired. Depreciation for the year was $3.109 million. Debt principal for the year that was paid was $1.238 million. Acquisition of new debt was $7.344 million. The change in compensated absences was $62,000. And then the net change in the pension plan was a positive of $1.298 million. So the liability went down, creating income in a positive amount of, or about $1.3 million. The next page is page 8, and these are the enterprise funds. So it's the International Bridge, gas system, and the transfer station. Total assets for the bridge was $5.169 million. Total liabilities was $2.198 million, resulting in a net position of $2.770 million. Total assets for the gas station was $589,000. Liabilities was $246,000, creating a net position of $342,000. The next page will be the revenue and expenses for the enterprise funds. Total revenues for the International Bridge was $2.853 million. Total expenditures were $1.872 million. The profit and loss was income of $981,000. And then there was other uses, transfers out in the participation of the city of Roma totaled $1.057 million, creating a total loss of $76,000 after the transfers. And those are transfers within the county.
So the what we paid Roma was $607,000.
Yes.
That one got lost within the profits of what we made that were not expected, right?
Right. That's the reason.
It's outside of operations.
Yeah, that's fine. I was we were not pronosticating 900 some million, and we paid them 600, so there's $300 still good for us. Am I correct? More or less.
Yeah, that's the reason for the negative in the net position.
Yeah, the transfer of the 519 was transferred to the governmental funds.
Yeah, so it's good. It's good.
The gas station, or gas system revenues was 996,000. Total expenditures were 772,000, resulting in income of 224,000. And then after transfers within the government, or within the county, it was still at an income of 154,000. That one's also
At the
positive.
transfer station, or the gas?
The gas. Have we finished paying off, there was a debt that we had to, I think the general fund, when we combined the transfer station and the gas, has that been paid off, or is there still? So it's paid off? That's good.
Yeah, same. Yes.
The next page will be I'm going to skip a few pages. It'll be to page 17. The other pages are the notes, and they're just kind of a detailed summary of what's on the financial statements. So I just don't really go over those in too much detail unless if there's any questions. And that's from page 10 to 17. Yeah, and those pages mainly list out debt and fixed assets. And then the summary of the fiduciary fund.
So overall, the county, what was the increase in fund balance?
For all the funds, and it was 6.18 million.
That was the increase? What's the balance, the fund balance right now, or at the end of this audit?
23.239 million.
Okay. Now, one question, and maybe this is for Ms. Alanis. If for some reason we need to go into our fund balance, how do we go around or about doing that? And I'm just thinking out loud. We're going to go into a couple of big projects. One is the courthouse, the renovation of the courthouse, and one is the juvenile center. We already have the funding, but if for some unknown reason something happens and we need an extra million or two, can we go into the fund balance? I would imagine, that's what it's for.
Oh, yeah, as long as it's approved through budget amendments.
Okay, so I guess we'd have to do budget corrections or,
Yes, I would say so.
okay, and I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but just in case it does.
I'll look at the financials a little bit more.
Okay,
But right now, we're good.
yeah.
Excuse me?
We're good right now.
Yeah, right now we're okay.
And I think, yeah, right now y'all have set aside just restricted for, or committed for construction at 7.8 million. So you also have it.
Yeah, that's the bond, it's really certificates of obligation is what we want to, yeah. Okay.
The next page will be page 17, which is the budget of the general fund. And the only one I'll go over on this one is, I know in previous years, I think there was more categories that were over budget, but in this year, there was only one that was over budget, and it was only by $234, so.
$200.
Yeah, so it's really good.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, way good.
Let's be realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're good. Over budget, $200 on
Yeah.
all our entities?
You know, but overall, the budget was like, it was under budget by 1.5 million.
Well, that's
It's just
good.
we had to do it by category, and like usually I'll have a few. This year it was only one, and it was only $200. Yeah.
$200 in a $20-30 million,
It's not even
it's-
0.5%.
it's like I used to tell my accountant, I'm not building a piano, this is a bigger thing. So 200 is
Nothing.
really very good.
Yeah,
pocket
the
change,
budget
Your
like
Honor.
as a whole,
Yeah.
also, under by $1.5 million also, so it's really good there too.
That's inflation. That's what we call inflation right now.
Yeah.
I'll skip to page, actually the last page, let me see. Look at the very last page, page 26. It's kind of small.
Yeah, I was gonna say, next time, can you print a little bigger?
It looks bigger on PDF. It doesn't look the same.
This is hard to see.
It just states all the federal grants and the oversee, or federal expenditures that y'all use during the year. And the ones that we selected for major testing, which was the ones we had to select samples for, do disbursement testing, payroll, and review all the items. Of all the testing, like everything came out really clean. And those ones were the Coronavirus State and Local Recovery Fund, and then the Homeland Security Grant Program. Those are the ones that we tested this year. And there was no issues with either one of those.
It's a good report.
Yeah, that's it outside of any other questions.
I guess the gas and the bridge, you pretty much covered it in the summary, right?
Yeah, a little bit on the D1, D2.
Okay. Okay, any questions on the audit? Anybody? Well, I mean, I want to thank you and certainly thank Ms. Alanis, for getting it out. We're kind of under the gun because we're trying to go out on bonds, and the financier wanted this done quickly, so I know I've been bugging Ms. Alanis, and I'm sure she passed it on to you. But so we appreciate you being able to get it done today.
Yeah, and if this was 3 years ago, I don't think it would have been possible. But I think the improvements y'all made and the staff made, it's been very good.
That's good. Yeah, and next year, it is my understanding that we used to have 9 months from the end of the fiscal year to the date the audits were due, that's being cut to 6 months.
Yeah, we were just talking about that actually just now. But the wording says municipalities, so we don't know if that includes counties.
Well, yeah, TAC interprets, the Texas Association of Counties interprets that as us also, municipalities and schools and everybody. So, I guess more pressure to get it out sooner.
Then the deadline's going to be on March 31st would be the deadline.
Yeah, I believe so. Okay, well, I'm glad we got this one out because this is real critical. We needed to get it out now so that we can go in before our president decides to change things again. So, we need to get it done. So, again, thank you all so much. Any questions, comments? No?
Motion to approve item 6, Your Honor.
Moved in second to approve. You want to cover all three of them?
Yeah, all three, 6, 7, and 8, Your Honor.
Your second for all three?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, please, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And that's all we have. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second, Your Honor.
Moved in second, discussion. All in favor, please, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen.